I am recording. All right. Hello and welcome to this astrology study group. And we have been working our way diligently through all of this astrology. It's simple, but it's complicated. And I'm trying to really make it simple for you. So we've gone through the inner planets, Venus, Mercury, Mars, or I should say Mercury, Venus, Mars. We've gone through your ascendant, gone through sun sign, and now we're going to look at the moon sign. And all of these are different parts of ourself. So once we get through this, then we'll start putting those in, factoring them in a little bit more. And then we've also covered a little bit on aspects, on how the mathematical angles work. And I really want to get into some of the patterns within everybody's chart, because there's a lot of cool patterns we can look at. And when we start combining things like the elements and the qualities, the polarities, they all make little patterns. For instance, I think we covered a little bit, or maybe mentioned it, things can be spread out all over the chart. Things can be grouped tight, and things can be like seesaw on either side. They can be in like more of a trine pattern. They can be as a grand crosses. And this all definitely gives us the overtones to all of the stuff that we're laying down now. So we have to get into and know where our planets are, and and then what houses they're in. At least all of the ones that we've covered so far. The more the inner ones. The outer ones we definitely will get into. And then they get into a lot more themes and generations, but it's still individual for everybody. So anyway, after we get through that, I think that you'll get that a little bit better. Then we can start looking at, all of the different ways that things interact, and that things negate, and that things enhance. And we'll just kind of take that all apart in the next few months as we look through that. So today, let's get going on looking at the moon, where our moon signs are. And share screen. Let's go to this one. And share. All right. And I'm hoping that everything's good. If nothing is good, or if I blank out or you can't hear me, just somebody unmute and say something. And I think I'm going to see if I can admit people if they come in late. Otherwise, I might have to unshare and go back. Anyway, here's our first little slide on our moon sign. And the thing, not everybody feels connected to their sun sign, which is why it's important to look at all parts of your chart. There we go. For instance, if you're say a Sagittarius sun who's maybe not into traveling, or a Cancer who loses focus, who focuses more on facts than feelings. So according to the teachings of astrology, an individual's unique complexities are revealed by their complete birth chart. And again, that's why we're taking this all apart. So a snapshot of the cosmos at the moment of your birth serves as your astrological fingerprint. It contains a comprehensive collection of planets, asteroids, and celestial points that correspond to different aspects of life. So once we see that, it's only the tip of the iceberg. There's after we look at the placement of planets, then we start analyzing it a little bit more thoroughly. So the moon sign is one of the most significant aspects of our astrological profile. And it takes into the fact, well, if we keep it here a second, it takes into the fact of your emotions. And the moon orbits the earth about every 28 days, 27 and a half days. And when it's closer to the earth, the tides are higher. That's what creates that. And it travels, if it's going to go 28 days or, 0.5, it takes about 2.5 days to go through each sign. So in a full month, it's going to go through more than just, it's going to start over again on the signs. And if there's 2 full moons in a month, that's what's called a blue moon. So I think that's one this month, because we had a full moon on October 1st, and we'll have another one on Halloween on the 31st. So that's interesting. well, once in a blue moon, and it laps around. You know, if you think about every 28 days, so it's going to be moving, you know, a little bit more until it catches up with that date again. All right. The moon sign in astrology governs our inner self. It's those feelings and deep desires and soul urges that not everyone sees. So much like the moon's waxing and waning, it reveals and hides itself. The lunar cycle can also affect how much we share or we show. Your moon sign can reveal how and who you love, or what you need to feel emotionally, secure. It also plays a major role in romantic compatibility, revealing how harmonious your dynamic will be. And this is really, really interesting. If you look at your moon with somebody else's moon, it will show if you're getting along with them or not. So if your significant person that you're living with, your moon should be compatible. And what do I mean by compatible? If they are in good aspect, so they can be, one of the best ones is if it's in the same element. So if they're both in air or both in fire, or, you know, that works really well. The next one would be if it's in the same polarity, if they're both positives or both negatives, that can get along. Having it in the same sign, having it conjunct, could be one way or another, depending on what sign it is and other factors. So two people with moons in Aries might be a fiery, blow up, explosive relationship, where two people with moons in Cancer or in Capricorn, or take maybe in Taurus, two moons in Taurus are just about security and comfort and things like that. Would probably get along way better. Then if they are squaring each other or opposite, it gets a little testy. You know, your emotions are then being challenged or then being pushed away from somebody. And then there's the inconjunct or the semi-sextile. If it's right next to your sign, it really doesn't have anything in common, but yet they have to interact because they're right next to each other. It's kind of like having a neighbor that you don't have anything in common with. They're just there, and you don't have anything to do with them. You never party with them. You never invite them over for dinner. They're just there. That's like a semi-sextile. An inconjunct is the neighbor across the street you don't have anything to do with. So they're the same, but they're different. They're even further away. And that is just, you're not on the same page emotionally, and things are hard. They really don't work that way. So as you look at this, and then as you look at other people's charts, you start to look at, it's like, look at you and your significant others, or you and your parents or something, or your favorite sibling or a friend, and look at those, and then see people that you didn't quite get along with, and look at those aspects. And then think, maybe the older you get, the more tolerance you'll have emotionally, the more you grow and the more you can tolerate things. But there's still those people that will test you emotionally. Okay. The moon sign is your emotional personality, a crucial part of understanding what makes you or someone else tick. Since the moon is the celestial body that's closest to the earth, our moods and feelings are governed by its movements. In a person's natal chart, the moon sign indicates what will provide us with a sense of home and security, what we need as individuals to feel comfortable, safe, and secure. The moon also represents our gut reactions, how we respond on a primal or instinctive level. Are you, look at the element to that. Is your moon in an air sign? So are you more intellectual? Do you intellectualize your feelings? Do you have to think about them? Is your moon in a water sign? Is it just emotional? Do you just emote? You can't help it, blah. Is it in a earth sign where you've got to rationalize or have it grounded or secure? How does it affect you? Is it in a fire sign, where you just blow up, or you just get it, or you're just there, it's just up, there it is. So that's really good to start thinking about we're going to go through these, but then also think about the element of your emotion, of your moon, because that colors your emotion. That's going to be the color that you have. Okay. Because the moon comes out at night, it can also influence our internal shadow side, the part of ourselves that only becomes visible when we self-reflect or get vulnerable with people. Often the moon sign doesn't present externally or immediately like the robust sun or the masquerading rising sign, but becomes much more visible as you get to know a person and see how they respond to different life situations. So, you know, in a crisis situation, how is somebody handling that? Are they falling to pieces? Are they calm, cool, and collected? Are they thinking about it? Are they just an emotional wreck? What's going on? All right, a little bit about the moon, which is interesting. I put on a calendar so you can see from the new moon or no moon, how it will, this is called the waxing or building up. You know, the waxing is putting wax on. And so it's getting a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And you can see 2 weeks later, you know, it kind of started over now, like here, it reaches the full moon. And then it starts to wane or get less, and you see it's getting lesser and lesser and lesser and lesser, and then 2 weeks later it will be back to new. And then here's the looking at it in a different way. So if we start on the new moon, it's well, we go this way, it's going to be waxing, it's getting bigger, waxing the first quarter, and then I call it the waxing gibbous, and then it goes to the full moon. This is 14 days later, halfway through the cycle. And then it waning gibbous, it's like almost full. The third quarter, the waning is lessening, it's getting less, and then wax, remember, wax on, wax off. Okay, so waning is getting lesser, and then it goes back to the new moon or dark moon. All right, what else I can tell you about that? I guess we can look at it over here. So if you think of the new moon, well, it's easier to think of it this way. Okay, so to know where the moon is naturally, well, I'll get that in another one. All right, let's look at these. The waxing crescent, I don't want to confuse you. And we can see it building up, waxing. So it's getting bigger, bigger, and then it's full, and then it wanes. Boom, boom, boom. It's just other ways of looking at this cycle that continually goes on. All right, let's start in. Aries. Aries or first house. I'm going to give you both of these again because you're going to look at both of these and combine both of these things. So not only are you going to look at the sign that your moon is in, you're going to look at the house, because we got 2 flavors of ice cream on your ice cream cone here, the emotional ice cream cone. So if you have an Aries moon in the first house, that's like same, okay? So we're going to look at these. Same thing with if you have a Taurus moon in the second house, that would be very similar, or a Gemini moon in the third house, that's the same. But we probably don't, most people probably don't, you know, they probably have it other way around, but nonetheless. So Aries moon or a first house moon. So you could have a moon in Cancer, but in the first house, and it takes on a little bit more of an Aries feel. So this is why you have to combine things. So let me just, before I get into that, if you have, say, a Cancer moon, which you'll get into a little bit, we'll find that, you know, it's that emotional moon. And then if it's in the first house of Aries, it puts a little more tension on it. It's not so maudlin. Okay, so keep that in mind as we go through this. So be thinking of both, where the sign and where the house is when we go through these. So the Aries moon or first house needs autonomy, challenges, action, novelty, and to be first. Wants to feel alive and turned on, but can also be demanding of attention. Look at me. Needs a challenge, but also needs to be babied and tended to at times. Moon in Aries, or the first house, your deepest emotions and desires takes on the qualities of the Aries zodiac sign. Fiery, passionate, and action-oriented. Dynamic, energetic, and excitable. You'll dive headfirst into new relationships, becoming fast friends and lovers when you feel the spark. Because you connect first and ask questions later, these attractions may sizzle as fast as they fizzle. Aries moon or first house, because Aries is ruled by Mars, the planet of aggression and war, which can make you temperamental and straight up combative. With your fiery emotions, you can get frustrated easily, blowing up at the slightest provocations. Although your temper tantrums pass quickly, you don't always realize how much havoc your rage spells can wreak. The fallout could take years to live down if the bridge isn't permanently burned. Learning to be less reactive and more serene will be a lifelong quest for those with moon in Aries or moon in the first house. Meditation is good, yoga, breath work, even anger management techniques can go a long way. So these people just, they blow up if you have that, I can't feel it, oh, and then, I'm done. But everybody else is wrecked around you, they're still shaking and they don't know what happened. All right, Aries moon, also, while your pioneering spirit drives you to create something that's never been done before, you may need outside motivation in order to bring your big ideas to the finish line. You may act or speak before thinking. Through the consequences, boldly unleashing a stream of uncensored thoughts to people, social media, or be inclined toward impulsive emotional spending, or outbursts. It's the computer's fault here, right? All right, Taurus, or second house moon, needs stability, material comforts, affection, or beauty to feel that they're building something lasting. Wants a return on their emotional investment, but can be a little too security obsessed. Stability, loyalty, consistency, check. With the moon in Taurus or second house, you have a deep need for security in every area of life. I mean, it's an emotional thing. The desire-driven moon is exalted in Taurus, which is in its most potent position. And we'll talk about planets in their home, when they're exalted, when they're in their fall, and when they're in their detriment. You know, if you just think about it, it's like a cycle. Home is home. Exalted is like you're home away from home. Fall is not, you know, it's like coming down. It's like not comfortable. And then the detriment is just opposite. It is not good there at all. But we'll talk about these in another class. It's just more ways of kind of putting things in context, saying it's good here, not good here, so here, and not so there. But with the moon being exalted there, that's like the moon's, see, the moon is at home in Cancer, but it feels good in secure Taurus. I mean, if it's an emotional, you know, it's the home of Cancer, which is home and comfort. Moon's comfortable there. But if it's going to go away, it's going to be in Taurus's home, and it's going to feel good because Taurus is going to feed it and have a nice, comfortable room for it, and it's going to make it secure. Okay, while you may read as stoic, you're possessive and you like to claim your mates. Friends become chosen family, or my people. Generally, you operate at two speeds: relaxed and contented, like the steer luxuriating in the verdant pasture, or hyped up and ready to charge. Toro. You basically have a built-in energy conservation program that helps you to patiently assess whether something is worth an investment of time and resources. People may accuse you of being lazy, but that's not the case. Giving so steadily can be exhausting. Sleep is a sacred art form to the Taurus or second house moon. To bring your best to the world each day, turn your bedroom into a temple of serenity. Relationships are investments for the Taurus or second house moon, and the best ones for you age like fine wine. Repetitive routines may dull the sparks for some folks, but not you. These are the very things you find calming. So it's like having a cup of coffee with somebody every day. You'll never tire of it. And this is really funny as we watch these signs going back and forth, you know, because each one is like the opposite of the next. Just keep that in mind. So, you know, we're talking about being boring and comfortable. And I don't want to say boring, but, you know, not being bored with repetitive things. And then when we get into the Gemini, they're totally bored with repetitive things. No, and then we go down to Cancer, and it likes that again. And then goes to Leo, nope. So it's just back and forth with some of these issues. So just keep that in mind as we go through. Alas, this moon sign can make you stubborn. Since you appreciate the safe and familiar, you may resist change, digging in your heels when it's time to evolve. Nope. Cleaving to outmoded ways can plunge you into an emotional rut, leading to hopelessness or depression. When friends and partners want to evolve, push yourself hard and move beyond the status quo. You know, come on, get out of the comfort zone. Even if you eventually amble back to your old ways of doing things, you'll do so with fresh perspective, and that's a win-win for everyone. Okay. Now, the Gemini moon, or moon in the third house, this person needs constant communication, new ideas, stimulating dialogue. They're the person that's reading 3 books and 4 magazines and has, you know, when their computer's open, they've got 2 browsers open and like 10 windows, and they have, you know, that going on, and they've got music playing, and then there's TV in another room, and somebody's talking to them, and then they're checking their phone. Yeah, exhausting to think about sometimes. So so they like stimulating dialogue. This is the mind, you know, I got 2 minds, Gemini. So, but they also have a feel-think, or they think-feel, you know, so it's not a feel-feel like the next one's going to be. This is a think-feel. So they're drawn to kindred spirits, a meeting of the minds, and someone who can mirror or reflect things back to you. Lunar Geminis may be especially comfortable talking about their feelings, but feeling their own feelings doesn't come easy. Feeling misunderstood is common for Moon and Gemini natives. The only real solution to the problem is learning to get in touch with their own feelings. They want to think about it and intellectualize it, not feel it. Now, that again depends on where other things are. If you've got a Cancer sun with a Gemini moon, now they're going to get way more in touch with their feelings than if you have, say, a Leo sun with a Gemini moon. Communication is the path to connection for those born with the moon in articulate Gemini or in the third house. Thoughtful and cerebral, you possess feelings through words. While quietly observant in new situations, once you open up, you have a lot to say. They almost always have a way with words and are clever and witty. They'll get the puns, they get the play on words, they get the dry sense of humor, they'll throw stuff out, and you'll take it literally, and they're snickering, and then you're just looking and wondering, like, oh yeah, okay. Making decisions can be challenging for this moon sign, you can imagine. Hours could be spent outlining pros and cons. Because it's this moon's sign's prerogative to change your mind. Waiting to weigh in with your opinion can be an act of grace, and at times you may experience difficulty in truly feeling your emotions. They think, feel. The negative manifestation can devolve into restlessness, distraction, gossip, judgmental behavior, and even depression. You can benefit greatly from having close friends, confidants, and even therapists around as sounding boards. Journaling and writing can also be cathartic, since this moon sign's placement is associated with writing and broadcasting. You know, the air stuff. And as you master your emotional range, you could teach the lessons you learn through a book, workshop, or podcasts. So Geminian. Lunar Geminis are usually pleasant, witty, and charming people. At home, with family, however, they can be moody and irritable at times. This position creates interesting people. They have a finger in every pie, are curious and well-informed. They're the Gladys Kravitzes.
Abner, I think I see the witch outside again. Their daughter's there. What are they doing?
They usually read a lot, talk a lot, and think a lot with this airy, mutable position of the moon. Their homes are often perpetual work in progress. They generally dislike housework, but are big on home improvement. Lunar Geminis are easily bored by both routine and constancy. Now it's the opposite of the Taurus. The Taurus loved to have that consistency. Geminis, they abhor it. Okay. Moon in Cancer, or it should say 4th house. Why does that say 2nd? I don't know. All right, they need nurturing, safety, family, and creature comforts, good food, nesting, cozy clothes. Can be fearful of abandonment and requires lots of reassurance. Sensitive, emotional, and matriarchal. So many feelings. The moon is right at home in Cancer, or the 4th house. It's domicile. Sensitive, intuitive, family-oriented, you're a natural caretaker. With the moon in this position, you're here to nurture the ones you love, and at times, the ones you barely know at all. When imbalanced, though, you may take on other people's troubles as your own. So this can be very empathic. All the water signs can be very empathic. This placement has a large potential to be able to get in touch with the feelings and moods, not only of yourself, but in others. So it's easy for you to do a mind meld there. It's like a feeling mind meld. It's opposite of the last one. Often they are quite wrapped up in themselves. Their memories of the past are outstanding, especially for all things emotional. People in Moon and Cancer people are never detached. They cling to things, their home and people they care for. They seek out security and family in all they do. They love sentimental things. They look for peace and quiet. These peace-loving souls dislike superficiality in all its forms. So Gemini was a bit more superficial. They had to have lots of stuff. This one, no. They are devoted and accommodating. The insecure ones accumulate things in an attempt to feel secure. They may dwell on hurt long after everyone else has moved on. When they feel they have been taken for granted, which may be often, they don't always confront others directly. This is when they can use roundabout ways to get your attention. In fact, these natives, when they are insecure, can become quite manipulative. Cancer can be that way, definitely. All the water signs can, because they're not, it's hard for them to go, hey, this is wrong, this is up. You know, they don't like that connotation. So it's like, I'll just pout, I'll just sigh. Why the long face? I don't know, what's wrong? Nothing. Those are more Cancer ways. Okay, so in fact, these natives, when they are insecure, can become quite manipulative. They can also be victims of habit. These people can have a hard time compartmentalizing their lives. Excuse me, simply because their watery moon tends to know no boundaries. Sometimes, as a result, they may act irrationally. One of the most delightful characteristics of Moon and Cancer people is their loony sense of humor, and they can be extraordinarily funny. Parenting comes naturally to the Cancer or fourth house moon. Many born with this moon placement gravitate toward career fields that serve women because it's the home. Only while alone can you pull back and stop worrying about what everyone else needs. Make sure that you have ample private time in a sanctuary-like space for regular restoration breaks. Surround yourself with favorite books, craft supplies, music, pets, and a well-stocked kitchen. On your days off, you might have to ghost the world. You'll make up for it later when you emerge with treats to shower everyone with your love. A mantra for this moon sign: don't take it personally. You find it hard to compartmentalize feelings or shrug off anything that feels like an affront. Okay, Moon in Leo, or the fifth house. It's dramatic, flamboyant, and expressive. Attention, attention! With the moon in show-stopping Leo, or the flamboyant fifth house, your feelings are big, bold, and impossible to ignore. Proud and confident, you can be quite expressive. What can you say? You're a passionate person. While that can feel like a load to bear, it also makes you compassionate. This moon needs attention, glamour, affection, and nonstop entertainment and playfulness. They crave excitement and a conquest, someone to celebrate life with them. When they feel comfortable, they do like being the center of attention. That is, they like being in the spotlight, in the comfort of their own homes and with family and friends. They enjoy entertaining others and often take on the role of comic. Lunar Leos often feel a need to organize and even control their families and friends. They have an inner mission to set things right and generally like to oversee the goings-on in their little circles. People may accuse Leo moons or fifth house of being intimidating or aggressive, even if you are at heart a gentle soul. I like this cartoon. Yes, we see you, Tom, but could you hold your comments until the end of the meeting? So you don't just cry, you have a full-on sob or tantrum. When you laugh, it's from the belly and it fills up the room. These people have contagious emotions or contagious laughs. Courageous, kind, generous, protective, and nakedly honest, you can be an endless source of entertainment and also the most loyal friend. When safely steered away from the ego-driven terrain, this moon sign energy leaves others feeling awakened and revitalized in an empowering way. Who's the boss? This moon sign likes to be in charge and can be a noble, powerful leader. So this is different of the moon have in this sign as opposed to the sun. Of course, you know, the sun is going to be where everybody sees that, and you know, that's just their inner core. The moon is again more when that person feels comfortable. You know, it depends on where their sun sign is, but that's going to come out because it's the moon sign, and then that Leo then will just come out when it's like it's okay to be on stage. A true romantic, when you fall, you go hard. In relationship, the Leo or fifth house moon sign desires nothing more than complete, absolute adoration. You'll do anything for love. Yes, even that. While your heart has undoubtedly been broken multiple times, you won't give up on amore. Amore. In fact, these experiences just give you the capacity to love harder and deeper the next time you meet someone who makes you swoon. When you're not channeling your passions into your lovers, you'll direct that creative spark into art, poetry, music, or any kind of performances. That's the fifth house stuff, your creations, the things you like to do like that. When it's center stage, your craving, it's not hard to draw. When it's center stage you're craving, it's not hard to draw an audience, an appreciative audience your way. Carrying a little bit of that offstage drama into your everyday affairs can make life more colorful and exciting. Now, so you can see how this would definitely liven up somebody who is like maybe a Taurus, you know, like a Taurus sun. And then what if they have this type of moon? That'd be interesting. Or if they have a partner with that moon, depending on where their moon is, of course, but you could see how certain things would offset somebody else. The Virgo moon, or moon in the sixth house. So these are problem solvers. They need order to feel helpful and of service, mental stimulation, likes to problem solve and analyze, but can be anxious or worrisome, analytical, detail-oriented, health conscious. I remember having an employee one time in a restaurant I was running, and they didn't know what to do. First few days on the job, they just went around and cleaned up after me. Found out they had a Virgo moon. So let me just clean up after her. I'll just do that. Just clean, you know, just kind of keep my emotions under control and be nitpicky cleaning everything. With your natural curiosity, you love finding out what makes people tick, a trait that makes you an excellent counselor or guide. Even if you don't work in an advisory field, people naturally seek out your wisdom. Solicited or not, you'll always have feedback. This ethical moon sign makes you highly opinionated, especially where interpersonal matters are concerned. Life is viewed through a critical lens for you. Yes, you do judge people, but the person you're hardest on is yourself. Perfectionism is a pitfall for both Virgo and the sixth house moon when applied to emotions. It can stir up shame and self-depreciation. It's great to keep a high bar raised, but try not to set impossible standards. As you lighten up on yourself, your relationships will also improve. You guard your emotions a bit more closely. Virgo and the sixth house are associated with selfless service. 'Tis better to give could be the mantra for the generous and helpful souls born with this lunar placement. In a pinch, you'll do anything for the ones you love. And yeah, you're a little bit of a control freak who likes things done just so. I'm not a control freak, but you're doing it wrong. With the moon in meticulous placement, cleanliness is next to godliness. You have zero patience for sloppy or lazy work. Integrity is everything to you. Clean, serene environments put you at ease. Clutter, on the other hand, gives you anxiety. Tidying up is a great form of therapy for this moon sign. When you need to stress clean, no one scrubs a tub with quite your ferocity. That said, you can be an obsessive hobbyist, collecting more tools or supplies than you know what to do with. One room in your house that may always look like a tornado blew through it, your hobby room. Virgo and the sixth house governs our well-being. So the connection between mind and body is powerful for you. Taking care of your body is directly correlated to your emotional health, because it's sixth house is health, work, service. You're probably diligent about exercising and eating right to achieve optimal wellness. If not, you should be. That's how I think. All right. Many lunar Virgos are quite practiced at nagging and complaining. As long as they are appreciated, however, these people will help you take care of your life. They are at their best when they feel useful and needed. If somebody needs help, they are generally the first to jump in and take on the task. While it may be true that lunar Virgos can lack self-confidence, many are quite simply content with living regular, unassuming lives. They appreciate simplicity and are often not comfortable when they're not getting too much attention from the world at large. Opposite of that Leo moon, right? Lunar Virgos are easily overwhelmed by pressure and stress. They worry incessantly when there's too much to think about, and they know their limits. Arguably, the worst position for a lunar Virgo is without a steady routine or a simply satisfying job. They need to feel useful, and they best express this by helping others in little ways. They need something to call their own and the space to do what they want to do. The unhappy lunar Virgos are fussy and complaining sorts. They are victims of routine and freak out when their plans are not followed. They are restless and nervous and can't seem to see the big picture because they're so microing down. Probably the best remedy for these people is a job or holiday in which they can express their deep need to analyze the tender details and micromanage. I like this picture. Looking at somebody micromanaging. Libra moon, or Libra in the seventh house. This placement needs harmony, beauty, companionship, and equality. Hates conflict and craves a peaceful and aesthetically pleasing environment. Tasteful clothing, fine art, and a strong sense of justice, aesthetics, fair and balanced. They're peace-loving and they love harmony. Emotional equilibrium is the ultimate goal for those born with the moon in Libra or the seventh house. On your best days, you are calm and centered with so much that people might mistake your serenity for indifference. Wrong. Even with the sign of the scales directing your feelings, you simply like to take your time. They like to weigh things. Remember, this is Libra, so they're weighing it emotionally. Take your time. Every option must be carefully weighed and deliberated. Rushing into decisions gives you major anxiety. Before you can move ahead, you want to check out a situation from every possible angle. Moon and Libra people have a strong need for partnership. Without someone to share their lives with, they feel utterly incomplete. This is why many people with this position get involved in marriages or living together arrangements quite young. Because this drive for harmony, peace, and sharing is so powerful, lunar Librans are apt to do a lot of conceding. They're sympathetic and concerned for others. Mental rapport with others is especially important to them. Lunar Librans feel safe and secure when they are in partnership. These are the people who seem to always need to have someone to tag along with them wherever they go. Both men and women with this position are often quite charming. They can be very attractive to be around and are often given to flirtatiousness. Rarely directly aggressive, these people win your heart with their gentle and refined ways. Moon and Libra natives simply can't help but see flaws in their environment and their relationships. In fact, anything out of whack will bother them until it's fixed. Although diplomatic with acquaintances, when Moon and Libra natives argue with their long-standing partners, they rarely let up until they win. And winning an argument is a Libran specialty. This is that balance. It has to do with justice, right? So that's emotionally important to them. And winning an argument is a Libran specialty. Living with a lunar Libran, boy, that's hard to say, can sometimes feel like you are on trial, and Libra is the expert lawyer. Sometimes, though, Libra is defending you and supporting your point of view. Scorpio moon, or moon in the 8th house, they need privacy, intensity, soul bonding, and they have a strong sexual chemistry, or to feel like a part of a power duo. And they have a hard time trusting and opening up. The person who wins a Scorpio moon's confidence will be rewarded and with external loyalty, mysterious, intense, and trustworthiness. Your emotions are complex and mysterious. The moon is in its fall in this sign, which is said to be one of the most challenging placements of the zodiac. It's true that your feelings come with a strong current, one that's been known to pull you into an obsessive undertow. But thanks to this deep diving lunar placement, you don't mind going way down there. Anything too surface, light, or superficial just won't hold your interest. And this is another water sign member. So Scorpio and the 8th house are associated with transformation. So like the phoenix rising from the ashes, you must touch the fire of destruction before you can elevate into the illuminated heights of awareness. Tough emotional lessons? You bet. You'll weather plenty of them in this lifetime. It's part of your process and how you develop your superpower as an empath, mystic, counselor, or guide. Because of this, you exude a trustworthiness that draws people into your confidence. Friends and even strangers are quick to share intimate personal details they've never told anyone in their life. The Scorpio or 8th house moon understands the sanctity of a secret. Lord knows you have plenty of your own tucked away, but sharing your own deep, dark feelings is another story altogether. Few people can make you feel safe enough to reveal your emotions. Betrayals are hard to forgive. If you sense that you'll be judged in any way, that vault remains locked. Beyond earning your trust, a confident must be intellectual enough to help you parse through your layered, multi-dimensional experience. You'd rather keep your feelings bottled up than to confess them, only to look up to a shocked and confused expression on the listener's face. Strong sexual chemistry is important to feeling love for an 8th house or a Scorpio moon sign. You need to know that you're attractive, and you feel quite strongly about the intensity with which you're attracted to others, even repulsed for that matter. When it comes to desire, you're hot or you're not. You may go long periods of time without feeling drawn to intimacy, but when it's on, it's on. With your rich inner life, you can also go along for long periods of times being solitary, and then suddenly end up in a soul-stirring partnership that lasts a lifetime. And with that, we're going to stop today, and we're going to do the rest of them next week. So I'll get to of course, with the rest of those, but look at those in your chart and people that you know, and just start, again, analyzing your moon. Look at the house placement, look at the sign, look at the element, and then start getting in touch with that, and then comparing that, that's your emotional side, with your sun sign. Does it get along? That's your homework. Does it get along? Look at the elements. Are they compatible? Your sun and your moon, because those are a couple things to really look at. Look at your sun and your moon, compare those two, and then look at your moon and your rising sign. So if we were looking at those, so you're going to compare this, and then we're also going to look at chart interpretation. Maybe I'll finish it and get into it next time. But if you have a little way to start thinking about this, now that we've put a lot of stuff out, we're almost finished with that. I want you to start comparing. So we're going to just start looking at that. So look at the sun and the moon. So you'll just get those and you'll look at them. I'll just give you an example, like mine. My sun is in Aries, my moon is in Aquarius. So I'm going to go, all right, Aries, that's fire. Look at the elements. Okay, I got fire, and then I got Aquarius, I got air. So I know that those are going to be, one's positive, one's positive. So that's going to be compatible because they're both, the polarity is the same. But we're different elements. I've got a fire and I've got an air. but they tend to feed each other and work off each other more so than the opposite signs. Then I'm going to look at it with qualities. Okay, I've got a cardinal, and then I've got a fixed. All right, there's a little bit, you know, so the fixed emotion and then the cardinal outer personality. So just note those things, you know, just nothing good or bad, just kind of think about that. Then look at it with your, you know, compare the moon with your rising sign. So then we've got, okay, I got my moon. I said my moon is Aquarius, and then I've got a Leo rising. Okay, so I've got, oh, I got opposition there, you know, so those are opposite. So that tells, then I look at the elements. You know, I've got the fire again. That's like my sun. I got fire, and then I've got the air. Okay, same, and then they're both positive again. So that's kind of the same. So it just gives you, you know, are you congruent with yourself? And then do the other trine. You know, try to think of the three. Then go ahead and do your sun and your rising sign. You know, and for me they're fire and fire, but they're two different ones. You know, I've got a fixed fire, and then I've got a cardinal fire. So just look at that within yourself. See if it's harmonious. See where you need to adjustment. You know, if something is opposite, then you need to, you know, look at that. That's duality. That's looking at getting things from a different point of view. If it's square, which is in the same quality, that's a little bit more of an adjustment, but it can be dynamic and moving. If you don't have things like that in the chart, your life and situations can tend to be more dull. And if you have too many, you can just have very tumultuous life if you don't have any trines or sextiles. But we're going to get into all that in the classes to come up. But that's your homework. We'll finish the rest of this next time. So compare your sun, your moon, and your rising. Just start looking at those relationships with one another. All right, and then I don't see anything in the chat. So, all right, I hope everybody enjoyed that. And if you have any comments or anything, just have it, you know, leave it in the chat or private message me, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.